Hey guys, good day, beautiful people. So, to all my southerners out here that live in the south, have you heard about the monks that are walking? They came from Fort Worth, Texas. I know it's Texas, but I believe it's Fort Worth. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And I'm like, Now, those of y'all who see my video about this whole Hindu statue stuff in North Carolina, I'm like, okay, Abba, something is going on. What is happening, right? We know that iniquity is building up in the land because that's what's going to have the judgment go forth. But it's like, there are things that we need to stand up about. And I was talking to a few of my faith sisters, and I realized that those monks, they appear to be coming in peace, but they're not coming in peace, y'all. It's a false peace. It's a deception. Because who are they following? Who are they following? That peace is, where's this peace coming from? We know where our peace comes from. It comes from the Most High. And there's only one way to get to the Most High, and that's through the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, okay? So, if they're not on that same path, that means that they're on another. And they are not us, okay? People can use terms, oh, peace, peace. First of all, you know peace can come through people pleasing, okay? Peace can come through manipulation. So, peace can be false. Like, that's a false peace, right? It just looks like, oh, we're just all coming together and joining one another and blah, blah, blah. No, what they want is for you to come into agreement with them because there's a bigger agenda at play. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture. If you're a watchman, you're supposed to be, you will see, you will understand. And if you are a watchman and you don't understand, then may the Father open your eyeballs, because they need some cleansing, some clearing, and the veil needs to be ripped off your face so you can see what really needs to be seen. And if you don't see a problem with it at all, y'all have mercy. So, their walk is very interesting because they're walking through the Bible Belt. And I was like, and so when I was speaking with my one faith sister, she was mentioning, like the Bible Belt, and I'm like, wait, what states are in there? Y'all, every state that's in the Bible Belt is the state that they're walking through. Okay? They are destroying a boundary line, a protection line. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I can be so quick to be like, oh, heck no, I'll rebuke this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, no, I'm not going off her emotion. I'm like, Father, how do you need me to handle this? What do we do about this? Like, how do we navigate? How do we navigate this? Show me what you need me to see. And this is something that you need to practice doing. Going to the Father, not moving on emotion, but staying firm and grounded in Him and asking Him, what do you want me to pray? Even if you think you know what you need to pray or want to pray, you still need to go to Him, because sometimes He'll show you something or reveal to you something or tell you something that you're like, wait, I didn't think about that. And He brought Joshua 9 to mind. I actually had to look it up because I knew that there was a covenant that Joshua went into with people in the land when they had gotten to the promised land, and I could not remember the story, so I had to Google it, and I found it, and it's Joshua 9, and it was the Gibeonite covenant that he entered into. It was a covenant with the Gibeonites. He did not ask the Father to do that covenant. And you know what the wild thing is? So you know how Israel, like when everything popped off in Egypt and they got from under the hands of Pharaoh, that news spread across the land. So all the foreign nations were terrified of Israel because of the Yah that they served, the God that they served, Yah. And so when they see the people coming, they're like, y'all, what we need to do? They knew the power of covenant and agreement. Because the thing is, when people come into agreement with Israel and they follow the laws, rules, and statutes and commandments, you're part of Israel. Like, literally, like, you're part of Israel. And if you have a misunderstanding of that, look back in Egypt, because there were some Egyptians and other people that came with them as well. Hence why everyone needed to receive what the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. And so the thing is, the Gibeonites were already there in the land. They pretended to be someone else that came from a faraway nation. Okay? They had bread. They were like, oh, we have fresh bread, but this bread is dried up and busted up, and because we came so far. They said the wine that they had like old wine, and they pretended that it was once new, and it got old over time because they had to travel across the land, and Joshua and them fell for it. Y'all, it was a trick. It was such a trick. And then I'm like, oh, Abba, that's why you brought this to my mind, because these Buddhist monks, everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're walking for peace and they came from Texas. Y'all, they're already here. They're already across all over this land, okay? I'm pretty sure you can find a Buddhist monk in every single state, okay? Don't be fooled. They are fooling you. They just want you to come into agreement, because they come into agreement that's going to protect them to do whatever agenda that they're really doing. And the thing is, they might not even know the agenda. They're following false spirits. They're following false deities that is speaking to them. And they're just coming and, doing what they do. And so we need to pray and repent. Everybody who's sitting here, if you're a believer, okay? If you're an unbeliever, then this message is not for you, because you're not going to get it anyway. But if you are a believer and you sat there and you came into agreement with those individuals, you need to repent. Like, you really need to repent and ask for mercy. Because you know what Yah did when they came into that Gibeonite covenant? He honored it. He honored it. And so everybody's coming into agreement with this, and I'm like, Yah, please have mercy and do not honor this covenant. Everything that I say, take it to prayer, but read Joshua 9. My friend also brought up the book of Nehemiah as well. So read that also, because I was reading that yesterday, and that was just so interesting, because it was about building the wall that was destroyed. Because they're breaking down that boundary line. They're busting up that boundary line. And without that grace, when you step out that boundary line, things can come through, in and out. There's no protection. So may the Father speak to our hearts and minds, and continue to speak to our hearts and minds on what to pray for, what to repent for. And I'm going to keep emphasizing repent, not just for the land, but for your individual life as well. Because even individually, when you come into agreement with those individuals, there's things that there's land that you're possessing in your personal life as you heal. You're taking back what the enemy stole. But guess what? You just came into agreement with a Buddhist monk under false peace. So guess what? That just busted up your covenant with Yah. And now you wide open. Nice open door for the enemy to now play in your face. And now the enemy can sit and have legal grounds in the territory that you're supposed to have back. And now y'all got to reside together because of the covenant that you made. You got to do better as a people. But again, take it to prayer, and remember that the joy of Yah is your strength. Be blessed.